Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this one, I'm going to show you how to create a geospatial web application and fetching your data from geospatial databases. That is, we're going to use Postgres. So you can see here that I have a Postgres pgadmin4 running. So this is just some kind of sample data that I have, which I'll show you how to publish these shape files to your PostgreSQL. And then later on, we shall be fetching this data using Postgres, and then we shall display it to the front end. So this is the final project that we are going to build. You can see that I have the map here, which is a web map. We have used React Leaflet. So we have a base map, and we also have a map for the country. And these are the counties. So each county has a population for the year. So if I click on the polygon, I can see that I have the name of the county, which is Samburu. I have the land area in square kilometers. I have the population for the specific year, that was 2019. I also have the number of households found in the county, those that were counted, and also have the average household size, so the number of people occupying a single household. So this is the data, and each of the county has its own unique data depending on what we have in our Postgres. So the first thing is that you need to install your pgadmin4, and that one is going to you need to download and install PostgreSQL, and then you can also check out on how to install PostGIS bundle like this one. So this is the interface that we are going to use to publish our data to Postgres, and then we can use the pgadmin4 to write our queries, of which then we can create our React Leaflet application, and then we can also use to fetch and connect the APIs to fetch the data from our database, and then we can display on the map. Yeah, so this is what we are going to build, and let's get started. Okay, students, welcome to the video. So we are going to begin right away. Here, I'm going to create a folder inside my working folder. So I'm going to open up my file explorer, and then I'll go to my folder where I want to put my work. So inside here, I'm going to create a new folder, and this folder is going to be Postgres-tutorial like that. Click on enter. And so I'm going to open up my Visual Studio Code. Make sure you have also installed that. So I'm going to open up my Visual Studio Code. Click on new window. I'm going to close the previous one. And then here, I'm going to open the folder. So I'm going to click on open folder. And then I'll go to where the folder is. I'll click on Postgres tutorial, then select that one. Okay, so we are ready to go. So now the first thing that you need to have is that you need to have pgadmin4. That means that you already installed PostgreSQL. I have another tutorial. In the previous one, I was showing you how to install the Postgres and also PostGIS extension. Okay, so what you need to do here is you need to create two folders here, and I'm going to create a backend folder. So I call backend, and then inside the root, not in the backend, but inside the root folder, I'm going to create a new folder called frontend. So in the backend folder is where we shall put all our backend code, including our APIs and routes. And then in the frontend is where we shall create our React application and then connect the two to fetch the data from our PostgreSQL database. Okay, so here I'm just going to open my QGIS. I just want to convert my data from the GeoJSON because I remember I have a GeoJSON file, but I want to work with the shape file. So I'm going to open QGIS, and then as it opens, I'm also going to open Postgres bundle, which is a PostGIS extension bundle that will help you to install or upload your files, so shape files or geospatial data. So when I go there, I need to view the connections so that I can connect. So my username is Postgres, and then my password, I'm just going to enter my password. Remember, when you install PostgreSQL is when you create this password. Then my database is GIS, I think. So connection failed because I think I've not put the correct database. So I'm just going to open pgadmin4, that's pgadmin4, and then I'll confirm the database that I want to work with. Okay, so as those applications are running, let's try to look at the data first. So I'm going to click on layer, then click on add layer, so add vector layer, and I'm going to add the GeoJSON layer that I have in my folder. So I'm going to here, I just want to add the file. So I'll go to my project, that's Coroplet here, click on public data, and then I'll click on counties ready GeoJSON. So I click on that one, and then I'll just click on add, and then this is going to ask if I want to add. So it must scan the data because this is a GeoJSON file. So I click on add layers, and then I'm go ahead and click on add, and then close. No, I'm going to cancel because I've already added. I can see them. Yes. So we have the data here, but this is GeoJSON. That's why you can see it's loading. If I right click and open attribute table, if I open attribute table, yeah, so I can see the attribute table here, and these are all the columns that we have in our data. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to export this and save as a shapefile. So save as S3 shapefile, and then I'm going to save inside a folder. So I'll go ahead and just add inside some folder. So I don't know which one is correct, but I can still create a new folder here and just say this is my GIS data. Click on that one, and then I'm going to now give it a name, and this is going to be a shapefile. So I'll say county_pop. So county population, that's the name of the file. And then I just click on OK. So you make sure that the CRS is there, which is EPSG4326, which is our geographic coordinate reference system. So I click on OK, and then this is going to export. Yeah, so as that one exports, I can now open my pgadmin4, and this is going to open up the database. So I have the database. I have 4 databases inside my pgadmin4, and I have this one here called GeoLMS. I have NSA, I have, and so on. So I'm just going to create a new database, and this is going to be GIS. You can also check around if you want to change some of the parameters. You can look at the SQL that is creating. So instead of us creating manually here, you can just write this one if you know much about SQL. So you create a database called GIS with the owner of that one, and then you can just click on save. Okay, so we have created our database, which is GIS. So the next thing is to add now the files or the shape files to the database. So we are going to open this, the bundle. So I have the bundle here, and I need to validate my connection. So I click on OK, and then you can see it says that connection succeeded, which means now we have connected to our localhost port 5432. Username is this one, and we have also the password, and the database name is GIS. So we are good to go. The next thing is now we need to add file. So click on add file, and then you'll navigate to where you have saved your file. So I'll go inside this one, inside my GIS data, click on the countypop.shapefile. So click on open, and then make sure you change the SRID here. This is the one that is going to help us to visualize using correct base map. So here I'm going to say 4326. Okay, and then I'll click on import. Okay, so it has failed, so shapefile failed because we have not installed the PostGIS extension. Okay, so now if you just go back to your pgadmin4, and inside here you need to go to a query tool, and now this is where you are going to write write the query to install the PostGIS extension. Okay, so here first of all we need to check. So I'll say select extension, select extension name, select extension name from pg underscore extension, from pg underscore extension, like that. And then I'm going to click on run. So to run your script, you can execute the script using F5, or you can just click on this icon here, and you can see that we only have PGSQL. So what we need to do is we need to create an extension called PostGIS, which will help us to now add geospatial data files to our DB. So here I'm going to say create extension called PostGIS. Then you click on run. Okay, so queries are returned successfully. So that means that we have managed to install the extension, or to create the extension. So again, you can check if it is installed. So you click on that one, and then you can see that we have now two extensions. We have PLPGSQL and also PostGIS, which is okay. And now you can also check the PostGIS version. So you can say select PostGIS underscore version. Then you call that function. So click on run, and then you can see that we have this version of PostGIS. Okay, so we can go ahead and now try to re-upload our files. So I click on add file, and that one, I think it was already selected. So I can just click on this one, and where is remove? Remove is here, so I can remove that. Okay, so I click on import. Then you can see the shapefile import completed. Okay, so I can go ahead and minimize this one. And now if I go inside I can refresh this. So click on refresh. So you right click and then refresh. I go to my schemas. Inside my schemas, I have a table, and inside this table, I also have the columns. I have the tables. I have two tables: county pop, which is our data, and the spatial ref system. So here I can just click, and can just right click and then go to view or edit, and then I say I want to view all rows. So viewing all rows, you can write this if you don't want to use the manual approach. You can say select all from public.countypop, and then you pass in the GID, which is the geometry ID, ascending order. Okay, so this one is our data. This is our data, and it is very heavy. So you can see it is loading so much when you just click on a very small thing. I just want to click on the geometry so that you can see the map. Oops, the data is too heavy. It is loading so much. Okay, so we can move this way. You can use this one to move around. So you can see it is loading. Then we have the geom column. So I'm going to click on the geom, and then this is supposed to load our base map also. I don't know, it is not bringing the base map. Did we write the correct SRID? Okay, let me just drop this. I'm going to delete this table. So I'll go back to the PostGIS bundle. So it's supposed to be 4326, So 4326 like that. And then click on import. So completed to import that. So if I come back to refresh, I'm going to close this one. And now I'm just going to view all rows again. Okay, so I'm going to scroll and look for the geom column. So I'm going to look for the geom column and it's there. So I'm going to click on that one. Yes, this is correct. So now we can see that we are getting the whole countries, counties, and this is located to the place that is required. So the reference system is okay. Now we are good to go. The next thing is now to begin writing our code inside the backend folder. So for that case, you need to go inside your folder, and here I'm just going to close that and open my terminal. Then I'm going to click on git bash. I love using git bash. Then after that, you need to cd into the backend folder. So cd backend. Then we are inside the backend folder. So inside the backend folder, we need to say npm init. So npm init -y. This is going to initialize package JSON. So as that one does that, I would like to mention that those two folders, as I mentioned, they are used to separate our backend logic and the front-end logic. Okay. So I'll pause here and come back when it has finished the initialization. Okay, so the initialization has been completed, and you can see inside the backend folder, when I click in the folder, I have the package.json, and this is just a basic JSON file, which we have the name as the backend, and the version is that one. We have the index.js, which we have not created yet, but no problem, you should not worry about this. These are just default features. So the next thing is I'm going to create a new git bash. I'm going to delete the previous one. I'm going to cd into my backend folder again, cd backend. And the next thing is now that we are supposed to create some files inside our backend folder. So the first one is going to be server.js, and then the next one is db, so db.js, like that. And we also need to create a folder for routes. I will say routes, and then inside routes I'll create a file called counties.js. So this is where we are going to write our query, and then we can connect with the server. Okay, so we need to now go inside our DB and create the connection. So we need to connect using this file. So here I'm going to say, what am I going to do? I'll just say const, just create a constant here and say const pool is equal to require, and you're going to require pg, like that. And then I'm going to say const pool is equal to new pool, and this is going to take a host, and our host is going to be the name of our DB host, right? So before that, I want to separate the files, because if you're working or you are developing a full stack web application which will have to be accessed by different users, you need to separate your credentials from the code, so that when you push your code to GitHub, some of the credentials are not pushed. Okay, so here inside my backend folder, I'm going to create a new file, and the file is going to be .env. Okay, so these are where we are going to create our environment variables, and the first one is going to be the db underscore host, db host. This is going to be localhost. The next one is the db user, so db underscore user, and the user is going to be the Postgres user. So this is the same user for our database, which is Postgres. You remember when you are installing PostgreSQL, we created this user. Okay, then the next one is the db password, so db underscore password, and the password is going to be the password, the password that you put as your password when you are installing PostgreSQL. So mine was Postgres, and then so the user is Postgres, the password is Postgres. Yours might be different, so I say db underscore name, so the name of my database is GIS, and then the db host, so db port is going to be 5432, like that. So inside my db.js here, I'll just say process.env dot the whatever the host is. So I'll say process dot env dot now the db host, db underscore host. So you can see that we are not supposed to write the names here. So if I do that, I move on to the next one, which is the user. So I say user, and this is going to be process dot env dot db underscore user, and the next one is the password. So I'll say password. The password is going to be process dot env dot db underscore password, and then we have a database. So I say database is equal to our db underscore no, it's supposed to be process process dot env dot our db name, db underscore name. I hope that was it. Yeah, it is db name. And then the last one, make sure to put the commas. The last one is the port, so I'll say port, and the port is process dot env dot db underscore port. Okay, then I will go ahead and say module dot exports is equal to pol, like that. So we have made our connection to the database. Now we are ready to use the data that is there in our database. Okay, so I'm going to close the env file. So inside our server, we can still connect this first, but just a minute. So we can go inside our server.js and then create the routes. So here I need to there are some things I need to install, because now we are using .env here, but it is not installed. Okay, so I'll say npm install .env. So I'll say npm install .env pg and express. Okay, and we also need to install codes. we need to install 4 things here, 4 packages, .env, pg, which is the Postgres, express, which is a Node.js framework for writing our APIs, and the cause. We also need to install nodemon. This will help us to refresh the APIs. So click on enter, and this is going to install all those packages. So you make sure that you are in the backend folder. So do not install inside the root folder, which is Postgres tutorial. So make sure that you are inside the backend folder. Okay, so we have our node modules and the package.json. So if you go there, you will see that we have the dependencies installed. So we have our cause 2.8.5, .env 17.2.3, express, which is express 5.2.1, and nodemon, and also pg, which is the Postgres. Okay, so here we need to add the configurations for our files. So I will say I want to auto start this, so I don't want to every time I run node server.js. So I will just write it here. So I will say, instead of running every time, I just want to say node server.js, like that. And then I also need dev, and this is going to be nodemon. So for development, we need nodemon, and then you also need to run server.js, like so. So we need to put a comma there, and then control save. We are now good to go. So we can go ahead and inside our server.js, I need to now continue to write the routes. So inside our DB, I forgot to import the .env. As you can see, we are using it here. So I'll go there and say require. Say require. We are going to require .env, .config, like that. So that way we are now okay to use the environment variables that we have in our env file. So inside our server.js, I'm going to say const express is equal to require express. Okay, and then const cause is equal to require cause. Then down here I'll say const counties route. So this is the route for our counties. Const counties route is equal to require. So now this is how we are going to connect our data, and then I'll pass in the routes. So I'll say routes, and then I'll pass in the counties. So this will be coming from the counties.js. Counties, like that. Control save. Okay, so the counties route will require, inside our routes we have the counties file. So we have not done anything here in the counties.js. So we can still go ahead inside our server. We shall do that one later on. So here I'll need to say const app is equal to express, since we have imported express, equal to express, and then I can say app.use cause, and also app.use express, and then you can say express.json, since we need to get our data in JSON format to display on the map. Okay, so since we have now those, I'll go ahead and say app.use. Now we need to say API slash counties supposed to be inside. This one supposed to be in quotes, like that. And then we need to get now our counties route, like that. So inside our API, which is the route, we go inside the counties.js and then grab the counties. Okay, get the counties route. Remember, the counties route is getting this from this route, which is counties.js. So I'll go ahead and also initialize the port. So I'll say const port is equal to, we are going to run our backend on port 5000. Then I'll say app.listen. We are going to listen to this port, which is 5000. And then I will have a callback here that says console.log. We're going to log and say that server is running on port and the name of the port. Yeah, the name of the port, and the port is port, which is port 5000. Okay, so console.log, this one's supposed to be here, like that. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see these things. I'm just going to increase the font size. So I go to File, Preferences, and Settings. And inside my settings, I'm going to the text editor and then click on my font. Right now, I only have 18. I'll increase to something like 20 and just confirm. Yeah, 20 is okay. I hope now you can see even on a mobile device. Yeah, so this is correct. Now we are going to, this is our route. You can see we want now to communicate with the route, which is the counties. So inside the counties, before that, I'm going to run the application so that you guys can see. So I'm going to say npm run dev, and the application is running. But it broke because we have not connected the route to our server. So inside our counties.js, here I'm going to say const express is equal to require express, const express require express, and then also need const router. So we are going to use the router is equal to express dot router, and then we also need to say const pool is equal to require, and we're going to require dot slash inside our DB is where we are going to get the pool, like that. So we can go ahead and now write the API. So I'll say router dot get, and then inside our folder we are going to say async, then we get the request and response, like that. So you can try to look if there are any errors. So I say try, and here now we can write the SQL query. So const query is equal to, here we are going to write the queries. So you can write your SQL queries here. So I'm going to say select select JSON, JSON B underscore build underscore object, like that. Then I'll say the type. I'll say type, and the type. Oops, something is going on here. Let me just align this one correctly, like that, because if you mess up this, then it won't actually work. Okay, so I have that one there. Type. I also need the feature collection. So feature collection, and we also need the features. So feature collection, features, and then we can say a JSON B aggregate, like that. And then inside, I'm going now to write the feature collection. So I'll say type. Remember, this is how our JSON looks like, our GeoJSON looks like. So type, and the type, we have the feature, like that. I need to close this one first. We have the feature. We also have the geometry. So I will say geometry. I also need the st underscore. I'm forgetting the quotes. St underscore as GeoJSON, and then we get the geom. Then you can say JSON B, like that, comma. Then we can have properties. So feature.properties. Then you can say JSON B underscore build underscore object. And the object is going to be now properties. Oh, we had properties already. I think I'm repeating that. So inside here, we need to have the columns. So I'll say county. The county needs its corresponding county column. County. Then you can also get the ID, county underscore ID, which will have its corresponding county underscore ID, county ID. Then we can also have the population supposed to be in quotes. So population, we need to get the total population, underscore population. So this one, you need to be very, very keen here, because the database has normalized our columns. If I just go to output, data output, you can see that all the columns have been normalized to lowercase. Here, the total population is total underscore POPU. So it is not total population like the whole word. So some of the characters were trimmed off. So we're going to use what we have in our database. That's why you have the county is county with the lowercase. If you go to QGIS and then right click on open attribute table, you will see that these names, some of them are uppercases and some of them are lowercase. For example, the county starts with the uppercase C. Total population is total underscore population or popu, which has the capital T and capital P. Then the male population, female population, and so on. So all these, when you just take a look at the database in our PostgreSQL, you can see that all these have been normalized to lower cases. So this is what we are actually writing here. So, like that. So I think that one is clear. Then the next one is the male population. So I'll say male underscore population, and its corresponding column is male dash pop, like that. And then the next one is the female population, female underscore population, female population. So we're not going to write all the columns. These are some of the sample columns that we would like to get back. So whatever we are fetching here is the one that we shall use in our front end. So if you didn't fetch anything here, that means that you don't want to use it. Okay, so here I will say female pop. So if you take a look at how it is written, so you can see it's female pop, and this is just the name that we shall use to fetch in our front end. Then we can go ahead and have households. So I'm just sampling out, so households, and the households will be households like that, households. So households, typo here, households. If you mess anything, it won't work. You know very well in programming, if you remove either a comma or a semicolon, then some things may not work. So I'm going to say average household underscore size is going to be the average underscore household underscore size, just as it is in the database. Then the last one will be land area. So I'll say land area, and land area, its corresponding column is land area, like that. And then we can have the last one as density. So density is for the population density. But here I would like also to mention something. Inside our database, this population is what is density. So initially it was population density, but then through normalization, we only got to have the name as population. So do not confuse this population with total population or population 2019. Okay. So here I'll just say population. That will represent my density. So I say population, and this will represent the population density, like that. So I'm going to prettify this, but pretty is not working. It's failing. It does not want to prettify this. Anyway, for us, we shall just continue. So inside our try catch, we have written all this. So here we need to say, now we are importing these things as GeoJSON, like that. And then we can say from now the name of our table, county underscore pop, like that. So after you've done that, we shall just, here we need to have a semicolon, and down here we also need to have a semicolon, like that. Okay, so everything is fine. So we're going ahead to now write our rows. So down here I'll say const rows, is going to be equal to await pool dot query, and the query is our query. Remember we had query from the pool. If you just go to the DB, you can see we have pool here, and then if you go to the server, we had the query somewhere. We have the query here, not in the server, actually in the router. So after that, I'll also say response.json. Response.json. Then we pass in the rows like that, and then we say .geoJSON. Okay, so we can go ahead and now catch the error. So catch. So if there are any errors, if there is any error, we can say console.error, then we pass in the error. So the error could be any error, maybe if it has failed, so error 404 or anything else. Then after that, we can now return status. So response.status, and the status will be 500.json, and then you can say error is error.message. Okay, so I'm getting these ones here, says I could not find the name error. It was supposed to be this one here. Okay, so let's try to preview. Says const pool, new pool, identifier pool has already been declared. Where is that then? So pool has already been declared. Did you mean pool? Let me just confirm. So this one is supposed to be pool and not the other one. Okay. Okay, so I think this one's supposed to be request. I don't know where the other one came from. So let's try to see what is going on. So we have request, response. This one is supposed to be select, like that. So we have feature collection there. We also have this one is supposed to be in quotes. We need the quotes. Then after the quotes, we have now JSON B. That one. Then inside JSON B, this one, we need to have the JSON B builder. So here I needed to have JSON build. So I will say JSON B underscore build underscore object. Then we need to have this. Okay, so I'll need to take that one out, and I'll need to have it here like that. Control save. Let me just try to fix this one. So we have the features, JSON B, and we also have the object, and inside we have the type, the feature, the geometry, the st as geom, then we have JSON B here. This one is not supposed to be in any quote, so I'll delete this. Oops, I'll delete that. Then we have st as geom, as GeoJSON, I think that one is okay. We have the geom, then JSON B, and then you can go on and say properties. I think I just need to space this one out correctly. Okay, like that. So we have properties, and we have JSON B build object. Then the county is the county, comma there, county ID, population, total population, male population, female population, households, average household size, land area, density. This one is supposed to be a comma there, you see the typo. And then I just need to align this one correctly, like that. So these ones are supposed to be here. Let's go to the new line, like that. This one is supposed to move inside. Just want to indent it correctly. So it's supposed to be there, and this one is supposed to be here, and this one should go there. And then I can have this. Just want to make these things readable, like that. And also I can put this one so here we also need to remove the quotes. Remember we had the quotes, so I had put quotes there. Make sure you delete that and put a semicolon, not a semicolon but a comma, and then male population, female population, households, female population. We have the households, we have the average household size, we have the land area, we have the density as population, okay, so looking at the code, now we have made all the corrections that are supposed to be there. These are the columns that we are going to fetch from our DB. So now the only remaining thing is to say module.export is equal to router, like that. So after you've done that and then save, you can see that now the server is running on port 5000, which means everything is now okay. So if I go to my browser and paste in this link here, localhost in our 5000 port API/counties, click on run. This is saying that password authentication failed for user Postgres. So I'm just going to correct the password. I forgot to correct the password. So the password that I put here is not correct because I knew that. So the password that I put here is not correct. Make sure you correct the password depending on how you created it. So I'll just pause here and we shall meet when I've corrected the password. Okay, so I have corrected my password, and so I'm going to say Control C here, and then npm run dev, npm run dev. So we run our server, and then I go back to refresh this. So this one says that syntax error at or near feature collection. It looks like we have 2 quotations. We are supposed to have a quote there. Control save. Then let's go back and also try to look at it again. Says feature collection, still getting the same error. So feature collection. Do we have any other feature collection? We only have that one. Feature collection. So we need to get this one type. Also need to be in quotation. Okay, let's try to see again what could be the issue. Hopefully now this is going to fetch our data. Yes, so we got our data here. You can see this is the GeoJSON file, and this one has all the columns that we want to work with. So if you can just take a look, so this one has all the columns. So all these columns are present inside our GeoJSON file. So we have managed to fetch our data from the database to the front end. So we only need to look at our React application and then display this data in a good format on our map. So this is it for the backend. So we can go ahead and close. I can go ahead and close the backend folder like that. And then I'm going to create a new terminal there. And then I'll just cd front end. And then we are inside our front end file. So I'll go ahead and say npx create -react-app, then inside that front end folder. So make sure you put a dot to ensure that make sure that you are inside the folder. Okay, so I'm going to click on npx create react app, click on enter. Okay, so this is creating a React application. So I can just click on this one. You can see we have the package.json, which is good. So this is going to take some few minutes. I'll just pause here and come back when it has finished. Okay, so the application has finished to create a React application. And so inside the React application, as usual, we are just going to say npm start, and this is going to spin up our React application in the browser. Okay, so inside the source folder, we have the app.js folder. We also have the index.js. So inside the index.js, I'm going to just paste some code here. I'm just going to paste some code there. These are just links. You don't need to worry about them so much. So these are just some links which you don't need to worry. So here we have the leaflet, which we have not installed yet. And we also have the CSS for our leaflet. So I'm going to just preview the application here, which is running. But before that, I think I'll just need to Control Z first, like that, and then see our application before we make any corrections. So we can see our React application is up and running. Okay, so we go back to our index.js where we now have this one. So now if I go back to the page, you can see they say that can't resolve Leaflet because we have not installed Leaflet and React Leaflet. Okay, so I'm going to create a new terminal here to install the necessary packages. And now I'm going to say npm install Leaflet and React-Leaflet. So npm install Leaflet, React Leaflet. Click on that one. And this is going to install the Leaflet and the React Leaflet. Okay, so as it does that, if you now go back, you can see that the error has gone, and now we are set to get started with our front-end application. So we are going to create just an application to display the data that we have, the population data. So here we only need to display this kind of data. So the boundaries for the counties and their data that is being represented. So we are going to create something like a choropleth map. I remember I had a video on creating a choropleth map with attributes, so you can switch around the attributes so you can see how the web map looks like if you change from, let's say, total population to male, female, or let's say population density. But for this one, we are only going to create using one variable, which is total population, and we won't do things like switching around the layers to check the attributes of the data set. Okay, so going ahead, I've already pasted this code. You will find this code in the GitHub repository. I'll provide the link in the description. So now if you go to app.js, I'm going to remove everything from the header. So I'm going to remain with that div, and here you can just have some h1. So if you can just change this one below to JSX JavaScript. Oops. This is JSON. Supposed to be JSX JavaScript. Okay, like that. So inside the div, we can have h1, and h1 can say PostgreSQL and PostGIS map. Okay, click on save, and now if you preview, you refresh the page. Oops, what is going on? Let us go back to this one here. So some things have broken. Oops. So I'll say npm start. Npm start. Let me see what is going on. Okay, yeah. So now we can see that we have the Postgres and PostGIS map. So the next thing is that we are going now to display our map. So we need to create folders inside the source folder, and here I will have the folder map, and I will also have another folder inside the source as legend, like that. Then inside the legend, we shall have legend.jsx. Sorry. Then inside the map, we shall have map.jsx, and we shall also have the CSS, so map.css. Map.css, no. I think that one will be in the legend. So we shall start the legend. So I'll say legend.css, legend.css. Okay, So here I'm just going to generate an RAFCE React arrow component, and also inside the map RAFCE. If you type in your VS Code and you don't get the auto completion, you need to install an extension called ES7 snippets. So you say ES7 React Redux and React Native snippets. So this is what you need to install. So just search in the your extension tab, just type in ES7 and it will generate the ES7 React Redux React Native snippet. So click on install, and then automatically when you type in RAFCE, you will see this auto completion of your React component. So this is just a function, or you can type this is just an arrow function with which returns a div inside. Okay, so now we can go and export that. So down here I can say map, and the map is a component, so you can export that from map and map.jsx. Okay, now we need to go ahead and create now the files. So inside our map.jsx, we are going to import or create a state, and that state is the one that is going to fetch we are going to use that one to store our data. So here I'm going to say const data, then we say set data is equal to use state, which will come from React, and this one is going to be null initially. Then you can say use effect, and this is going to have a fetch. So we are going to fetch, and fetch is going to take the data that we have. So we have this data here, so we want to get this data to our front-end page. So what we are supposed to do is we can create a file up here. So here I'm going to say const API underscore URL is equal to now the URL that we have. So we have HTTP 500. No, it's supposed to be localhost 500 /API/ counties. Okay, like that. And then inside our fetch, we can now call the API underscore URL. Okay. So after you have that, you can now say then, and then is going to take a response, and the response is going to return response.json, like that. Then you can say then, and inside here we are going now to say JSON, and this is going to be set data, and we set data to our JSON data. Okay, then you can say catch, and you're going to catch error, and the error is going to be console.log console.error. Then you can say failed to load GeoJSON, and then we pass in the error like that. Then we don't want to repeat this process, so we only want to fetch it once. So inside the use effect, I just pass in an empty array. Okay, like that. So now we can go ahead and inside the map here, we need to import the containers from the map container from the React Leaflet. Okay, so here I'll just go to, instead of typing everything, I'll go to React Leaflet. So just go to React Leaflet.js.org, and then you can just copy this code here, Control C. This is going to display a map, and then we can paste we can paste it inside this return function like that. Okay, so we have the position, we have just declared the position, and inside that map container we pass in the position, so the place we want to center our map. Then the zoom is 13, you can reduce that one to something like 7, and then the scroll should be true, we want to scroll through our map. Okay, so the position can change depending on the location that you want. So here I'm going to center my location to what is it going to be? It's going to be something like 0.000. That is the latitude, so on the equator, and then 37.8172 and 23 like that. So now if I go to my React application, refresh, it says that this one has not yet been imported. So we need to come here and say import. We're going to import map container. We are going to import tile layer. We don't need the markers, so I'm just going to delete them like that. And then we say from React Leaflet. So when I save, you can see the changes. And now if I go to the page and refresh, render is not defined. So where is render? Why am I getting render? So map container. Okay. So we can also have the style. I think we need to have the style. So here we can have the style. So I'll say style, and the style is going to say height. The height is going to be 100 VH, and the width is also going to be 100 VH. Okay, let me see if that one is going to work. Line 18, where is render? This is supposed to be return. Oops. This is supposed to be return function, not render. So refresh. Cannot read properties of null, reading use state. Okay. So use state is there. Set data. Anyway, we can just continue and we shall get to those errors later on. So here we have the map container, we have the position, we have the zoom, we have the scroll wheel zoom, we have the styles for our map. Then we have the tile layer, which is coming from the OpenStreetMap. Okay. So here, let me just comment this one first because I need to preview. I don't know what could be the problem. Just refresh. Let me see. Okay. Localhost, because now this is since we are setting our data here and it looks like it is null, localhost 5000. Localhost 5000, not 500. Let me see if that one works. Still doesn't. Let me right click and inspect. So invalid hook. Okay, I think the problem is here. So let me just preview this one. So we have the use effect, fetch API dot then res dot then response. We can have the JSON data there, but I don't think this one causes any error, because if we have 2 arguments, then we can still put the parentheses. When I save, they still come back. So res.json, set data JSON. Okay, then error, console.error. No, okay. So let me go and try to display this data. So inside our container, map container here, I'm going to say data and GeoJSON, data and GeoJSON. Like that, we are going to say data is equal to data. So the variable that we set, and style is going to be, I think we need to remove this one, and then we can say, can try to preview this first. I don't know what's not. So GeoJSON is not defined. We need to import this here. So we need to have GeoJSON like that. Okay, so I think I did install the modules outside the folder. So I'm just going to delete these folders, the node modules. So let's continue. So I'll pause here. Okay, so after deleting that, I'll need to cd into my front end. I think that is what I was doing wrong. Then I'll see npm. So I'll say npm install leaflet and React-Leaflet. Okay, so now this is going to install in the correct folder. Yeah. So I did a mistake by installing just inside the root directory, because you can see that we had other node modules outside the folder. So when we ran the code, it was not executing the way we wanted. Okay. Okay, so after you've done that, so make sure that everything is inside the front end and not in the root directory. That was my mistake. So after making those corrections, you can see that we have installed Leaflet and React Leaflet. So you go ahead and you say Control-C to stop the application. Then you can just restart the application. So after the application restarts, I'm going to close this one so that we look at a new spinning application. So I'm going to close that, and now you can see we have our application running. Okay, then you also have the dataset being fetched. So we have just converted this file. We have just converted this file into now a functional front-end application. You see. Okay, so this is how you can do it. Just to review, so we began with the front end, with the backend. We got the routes, we connected the database, and we also installed the necessary dependencies. Then we went ahead and created our React application like that. So we have just displayed the data. Okay, so I'm just going to do the, because there's the code that I was looking at. So before that, so the application is going to run again, and then if I just go back and refresh, we are supposed to see the same thing. So nothing has changed so far, so it will work just as the previous one. Okay, so we are getting our API URL that we got from our API endpoints, and then we have declared our data here in a use state. Then we went ahead and fetched the data from this URL, and then we got to display it on the map using the GeoJSON component like that. So that is how you can do it. So as we proceed, I'm going to now create the colors for the web map. So what I need to do, I come down here and say these are choropleth colors, and then you can say const get color. Get color is equal to these colors. So we are going to define, we're going to return colors, and we need to pass in our pop. So population. So you say population if it is greater than 2 million. If it's greater than 2 million, is this 2 million? Yes, so if it is greater than 2 million, we give it this color. So hashtag 8026 like that. And then population, if population is greater than 1 million, if it's greater than 1 million, then we give it this color. So we say hashtag BD0026, or if the population is greater than 500,000, we are going to give it this color, hashtag E3131A1C. Okay, that is going to be the color. And if the population is greater than 200,000, if the population is greater than 200,000, we're going to say hashtag FC 4E FC 4E2A. Then I'm just going to change this one to lowercase pop. Oops. Like that. Oops. Yep. And if the population is greater than 1 million, so this is supposed to be 20 million. This is supposed to be 20 million, and this is 10 million, and this is 5 million, and this is supposed to be 2 million, then this is 1 million. If it is that one, then it's going to be hashtag FD 8 D3 D3C, and if the population is greater than 500,000, what is 1 million? So we got 2 million, we got 20 million, we got 10 million, we got 5 million, we got 2 million, then we have 1 million, and we have 500,000. So if it is that one, then we say the color will be FEB24C. 24C. If now the population is less than that one, so if the population will be just less than that one, we now say the color will be FFEDA0. Then we need a comma there, a colon, I mean. So those are going to be the colors of our map. After that, we're going to define a constant. Let me just plug in my computer. Okay, so constant style is equal to, this is going to take in a feature, and then we shall have a callback. Then we say the fill color. The fill color will be get color. Then we say feature, not a feature group, but feature dot, this is not feature, we need a feature. So feature dot properties, feature dot properties, feature dot properties dot population, feature dot properties dot population, and then the weight is 1, and the opacity will be 1 also. Then the color will be white, and the fill opacity will be 0.7, like that. And so after doing that, we can look at the styles. We can now look at the styles and see if we can get that map. Since we already have style, so I'll just come here and say style, and we pass in the style like that. Okay, so let's try to preview and see. So refresh, and then you can see that we have our styles applied. So this is depending on the population of the map, this is what we got. Okay, so the next thing is to define some bind pop-ups. So when we click on the feature, we need to get the pop-up, okay? But also on hover, we also need, when we hover over to the map, we need to see the map gets highlighted. So if we hover over this county gets highlighted. So that's what we are going to do next. So to achieve that, you need to say const highlight feature, const highlight feature. This is going to be a function, and then we can pass in an event. So when we hover over, we want to get an event, so we say e.target target dot style, set style, set style, and this one we're going to pass in weight. The weight will be 2, the color will be black, and the fill opacity will be 0.9. Then you can put a comma there. Okay, so then next we need to re-highlight the feature. So here, down here, after this function, I'll say const reset highlight is going to take an event, and then we can say e.target.setStyle. Then you can say style, and the style is going to be e.target.feature. So since we already have the style for this one, which is here, so we just pass in back to that. So if you hover over it, you get the color. So if you hover over, you get the black. If you move outside the polygon, then it goes back to the original color that we just set. Okay, so after doing that, we are going now to get on each feature. So down here I can say const on each feature. Const on each feature is going to be going to take in a feature as the argument and layer, since we shall be clicking on that layer. Then we can say layer dot bind pop-up, and then we say we are going now to pass in the parameters that we want to get. Okay, so I just say this one, and then we can say strong, like that. And then inside we are going to say we want to get back the features. Okay, so we say feature dot properties dot county. So the county name, we get the county name. Okay, then we also need now the land area in what square kilometers. Land area in square kilometers. Then we say we want to get the feature dot properties dot land area. Then you can say dot to land area dot to local string. Okay, and that one becomes a function. Then here we can put a break, so break, and then we can duplicate this several times. Okay, so land area in square kilometers, we can also get the, so what do we have inside our backend? So we need to go back to the routes and counties, and you can see that we have population there. So we need to get population. Okay, so this is what we are going to use. So copy that one, Control C, then go back to the map, and then we say population is going to be feature.properties.population, and then the other one will be households. So households, remember they are in lowercase, and here we can just remove this and say households. So this one is not necessary. So households, and we also need the average household size, and then here we can delete this one and say we have average household underscore size. Control save, and then we can now proceed to say that we can just remove this one because we are not getting anything else. Then down here we just say that layer dot on. So layer dot on what? On mouse over, and we say we highlight the feature. So highlight feature, and then mouse out, we reset highlight features. Okay, then now we can take that on each feature and pass in inside our GeoJSON. So you can say on each feature like that, then we pass in on each feature, then you can say control save, then preview that one. So if you refresh the page, now you can see when you hover over the polygon, you can see that we get the color black, and when we reset, we move out, it resets back to the original color. Okay, so I'm going to remove the heading here because I don't want to use it inside our app.js. I'm going to remove this one there so that we can see the full map. So refresh, then we can see the full map. Okay, we are at 100%. Then when we click on it, you can see that we get the name of the county as this is Wajir. The land area is in square kilometers 56,773 square kilometers. Population is this one. Households is this, and we have 6 people living in a single household. Okay, so I go back here and just have a break also because I just realized that these are appearing on one line. So if I come back and refresh, then click on the county, we get the county is Murang'a. Land area is 2,524 square kilometers. The population is 1.05 million. The households are these ones, and they live 3 people per household. Okay, so everything is now working fine. The only remaining thing is to get now the legend display, and that one is we already have the legend here. So first of all, I'll need to import this legend in my app.js. So I come here and I will say legend, and then that one will automatically import the legend from legend. Okay, so inside the legend, we are going to have the colors for the legend. So inside here, inside the function, I'm going to say const grades is equal to we pass in a function, and this function is going to also take the population like pop, and then I'm going to copy the same colors that we created here. So I'll just say like this, copy that one, and I just paste them there. Control save. Prettier is not functioning, so we can just say like population. So if it is that one, and so on. Okay, so down here I'm going to return, I'll give it this div is going to have like a class name. I'll give this div a class name, and the class name will be map-legend because we are going to style it. Then inside here we can have h4 h4, and h4 will say something like population. Okay, h4 will have population, and then after that we're going to say grades. I don't know why I'm getting an error here. Declaration or statement expected. Grades. So we need to get grades first. So up here I'll say const grades. Const grades is equal to, this is supposed to be get color. Get color, like that. Then const grades, we are going to list in the grades. So from 0 to 500,000, that is 5,000, to 10 to 100,000, 100,000, 200,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1 million, then you have 2 million. Okay, so we have the grades, we have the get color. So down here I'm going to parse to return grades. So I'll say grades dot map. So I'll say grades dot map, and map is going to take some grades and the value, like that. And we can have a div, and this div will have key, and the key will take the value. Then you can also have the class name, and this one is going to be legend item. Then after that, inside the div we can have a span, and the span also has a class name. Class name, and the class name is the legend color. Then we can also have a style, and we can have background color. We can have background color as get color function, and this will take the grade plus 1. Okay, so Prettier refused to prettify our code. That is why I'm writing some ugly things here, but no problem. So outside the span tag, we are going to have another span, and this one is going to say legend label. So we have a class name. We have class name and says legend dash label, and we can also have inside this one we can get the grades dot to local string, like that. And then we can also say the grades, we say the legend item plus 1. If that is the case, then we say this one here. Then you can say grades I plus 1. Then you can say dot to local string, like that. Else, So we come out and say else. We'll just say that one. Okay. I think I need to close this thing here. So we need to remove this one here, and then we can close it there. So here, down here, I have an error, and this is saying declaration statement expected. So if I just take a look inside this one, oops, so the legend's supposed to close down everything because that is the whole component. So I just removed an extra curly brace there, and I think now everything is okay. Okay, so if I just go to the map, refresh, we can't see the legend yet because we have not given the styles. So we shall go to the legend style, and then we try to style the colors. So I'll say map dash legend, so that is the class. Map, so class map dash legend, then I say position absolute, position is absolute, like that. Then bottom is going to be 30 pixels, 30 pixels. Left is 30 pixels, left 30 pixels, and then Z index is going to be 1000 so that it appears on top of the map, 1000. Then background is going to be white, and padding is going to be 12 pixels, 12 pixels, 12 pixels, 14 pixels. So that means that on top and bottom will be 12 pixels, and left and right will be 14 pixels. 14 pixels, like that. And then the next element will be border radius. Border radius, this is 6 pixels. So it's going to smoothen the corners of the legend. And then you can have a box shadow. Box shadow will be 0, 2 pixels, 15 pixels, and then an RGBA of red will be 0, green will be 0, blue will be 0, but the alpha value will be 0.25, 0.25. Then you can also have the font family. The font family, we can say Arial, comma, sans serif. Comma sans serif. And then the next thing is going to be now the heading. We also need to style the heading, which is here. So the H4. Remember, we have the H4, this one here. So what I'm going to do, I think I can just split. Yeah, can have it here. Can have this one here. Can have this one here so that it is easier for us to preview. So map legend, then H4. Then we are going to say margin. Margin is 008 pixels. Font size is going to be 14 pixels. And then the font weight. The font weight will be bold. Okay, like that. Let's see if something is happening. Refresh. We can't see it yet, so we proceed to the next element. So the next one is the legend item, the legend dash item, and this is going to be display flex, align item center, Then margin bottom will be 6 pixels. Then font size will be 12 pixels. 12 pixels. So I think it won't reflect because I've not imported it here. So I'll say import legend/legend.css. Okay, so if I do that, hopefully I'm going to see something on the map. Yes, so we got it there. So you have the population from 0 to 50,000, 50,000 to 100,000, 100,000, 200,000, 200,000, 500,000, 500,000, 1 million, 1 million, 2 million, and 2 million plus. Okay, so the slides are working. Now we move on to the next item, which is the legend color. So we say dot legend. Where is it? It's here, the legend color. So legend color is going to be width is going to be 18 pixels. 18 pixels. Height is 18 pixels. Margin right is going to be 8 pixels. And then lastly we have the border, and border is going to be 1 pixel, 1 pixel solid. Then we can have this color. Control save. Then the last one is the legend dash label, the legend label, and this one is going to have a white space of no wrap. Control save, and now let us see what it looks like. Yes, so we have the colors all represented. So population between 0 and 50,000, like this one here, or this one. I don't think if we have. So 50,000 to 100,000, 100,000 to 200,000, 200,000 to 300,000. Then you also have 500,000 to that one. I think I just need to confirm these colors. I feel like something is not correct. Something is not correct with these colors. You remember I just copied these colors from I don't know. So we have 8,026. We have this is supposed to be 2 million. Yes. Then we have it's supposed to be 2 million. This is supposed to be 1 million. 500,000, 500,000, 200,000, then 100,000, and we can have 50,000, like that. Okay, let me again look at the code. Yes, now this is correct. Yeah, so we have 50 to 0 to 50,000, 50,000 to 100,000, 100,000 to 200,000, and so on up to 2 million plus. Okay, so this is it. We have managed to fetch our data. I'm just looking at something, and I just feel like something is not correct also, but at least we got our colors. If you click, you can see that we have the population, the average household size, and so on. Okay, so I'm just also looking at the colors for the legend. It should actually reflect what we have here. So I also need to change this one from 20 million to 2 million, 10 million to 1 million, to 500,000, to 200,000 to 100,000 and to 50,000. Now this is correct. Yes. Now you can see the difference between the previous one and this one. Yeah. So we have the colors above 2 million. You can see above 2 million. We have Kiambu above 2 million. Nakuru above 2 million. Nairobi, which is 4 million. We have this one is 1 million. Kakamega, we have Samburu, Marsabit with 459. So it is in between 200,000 and 500,000. Okay, so the goal was to get this data from our geospatial database. So to get all those, and I feel like we have achieved what we were supposed to get. Okay, and if you go to data, this thing is loading so much because the data is too heavy. So if you just click on the geom, down here I'll need to rerun this so that we get all the data inside our DB. So you can still preview here as I showed you. If you click on the geom, it is now showing only one, which is, I think it was highlighted, if I'm not wrong. You go back to data output. I feel like we had highlighted that county because we are not getting the whole thing. Anyway, we have achieved what we were supposed to do. This was a very long tutorial. I hope you have learned how to add actually data to the database and how to fetch it to the front end, and then how to connect your React application with the backend that you had, so your APIs. So thank you for watching. If this was helpful, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. Make sure to share with other people so that they can also benefit from learning geospatial web mapping. And I hope you enjoyed. So I'll leave the link in the description to my GitHub repository where you can, if you want, you can even clone the application. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.